Okay, could I please get a mover and seconder for the agenda? Moved by Bill, seconded by David. The only addition is upper halfway. Calling the question then, all in favor? In favor here. And I'm going to start tonight. I recognize that there is a vigil ongoing in our community. I am going to start tonight with the statement connected to the Tumbler Ridge situation. Our hearts are with the students, staff, families of the victims, and the community of Tumbler Ridge. The heroic efforts of staff and students to keep each other safe during the initial event is noted. First responders' quick response and efforts are also appreciated. The shock waves from this event rippled far beyond the north. Thank you to our staff for the support given to the students and families in our own community that have been impacted by this event. We know that there is a resilience in Tumbler Ridge that will move the community forward in healing. Our district has reached out to our fellow Peace River district to offer any assistance we can give in the immediate aftermath of this event and will continue to do so in the future. We offer condolences and whatever we can do to help Tumbler Ridge be Kodiak strong. Thank you. We are celebrating 101 school opening, and I will let Stephen show you. I asked for some pictures of the event, and we are certainly celebrating what is happening there.
Yeah, I can go through these, and if you don't mind, Leah, maybe just so Helen can see the pictures that I'm showing. And so this is the new school attached to the previous gym. This is a classroom in there just to get a sense of the new build. You can see the wood beams in the ceiling. This is in the foyer area where you come into the school. And as you can see, it's a large, high, open, beautiful space where they've also incorporated parts of their library and other resources. And it leads into the gym on the one side as well. Another shot of this would be a primary classroom. And my understanding, Angela, is they're all moved in now. The kids are taking classes in there. So this is just another shot. And here we have again the foyer. A little hard to see from here, but in the middle to the right is where they can now access the gym. So as they come into the entrance foyer, they can go into the gym area or they can go into the classroom area.
That's the hallway.
Oh, sorry, that's the hallway. The gym's on the other side.
Gym's on the other side.
Got it.
Okay.
And there's another classroom. So that's the end of the pics there, just to show you the beautiful new space.
Yeah, it's certainly interesting to see how that foyer space came together.
Yeah.
All right. We'll move on with trustee celebrations and engagement, and we'll start with trustee Campbell, area 4.
Sorry, Bill just had a question on the 101.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
I was going to clarify, but the gym that's there was a gym that was there, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought so.
Yeah.
So how do they consider that? Putting it as is it considered a new build or an addition? What do they consider it?
A replacement school.
You do consider replacement?
Yeah.
Because it was-
Consider it a replacement.
I wasn't sure if the,
Yeah.
okay,
The gym is existing, but it has been upgraded, so.
thank you.
Sorry, I.
Right.
Hey, I went to the committee meeting at Dr. Kearney, and it was really nice because we got to walk through the new portion of the Dr. Kearney. And I got a big hug from my grandson, which was really nice. I went to the board advance, and I've been to a couple of the PAC meetings. And then this week I will be attending the SUPAC and the Indigenous Council meeting for the board.
Thank you, Ida. Vice Chair Gillis, area 3.
I've been at the Hudson Soap School quite a few times. Just kind of checking in on things and visiting staff and my kids. I attended the advance last Monday. I want to thank Ida again for the baskets. I didn't open mine until I got home. It was wonderful. I loved it. Thank you. That's about it.
Thank you. Trustee Lehman, Area 1.
I went to NIB in Prince George. We had the MLA forum. Did the BCPC AGM. It was virtual this year. Attended DPAC and SUPAC meeting. And then I had the chance to go up to Prescott to their grad. That was a very good event. Exciting to see, and it was good. And then attended the advance last Monday here too.
Thank you. Vice Chair Snow. No, sorry. It's okay. I'm jumping around. Trustee Scott Moncrief, please.
I had a wonderful time at the Presbyterian grad. Can't wait to do that again. And I was at the DPAC meeting. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Now, Trustee Snow.
All right, so I've been to Ambrose, North Peace, ELC, Bose for some visits. I popped into Kearney for one visit there. I've been out to watch some school basketball. Had a nice conversation. Got invited to one of our elementary schools. I'm involved with the Toastmasters right now, and they asked me if I'd go to assist some younger students with public speaking.
Wow.
Provincial Council training. I did that today, and our provincial council is on Friday. The Presbyterian grad. Yeah, keep pretty busy.
Thank you very much, Bill. And Trustee Whitten sends his regrets tonight. For myself, I attended the Northern Interior Branch event in Prince George, and I participated in organizing the event and the forum. I was reelected as the Northern Interior Branch president for serving for the 8 districts in the Northern region. Since that meeting, I've gone back and forth with other Northern Interior Branch members and the BCSTA to finalize the motions that will go forward for AGM. I did attend DPAC and SUPAC, the committee of the whole at Dr. Kearney, where I was able to express our board thanks to the staff for the support given in the aftermath of the youth tragedies in December. I also attended the board advance remotely, but I appreciated being able to be part of it, and also did Zoom agenda setting this week. So that's what I've been up to. Okay. Moving on to item number 5 on our agenda, which is minutes of the regular board meeting of January the 19th, pages 6 to 13 in your package. And Nicole, it's sort of hard for me to gauge where people are at. So if you can give me a thumbs up when you feel people in the room are ready to move on, I'd appreciate it.
Okay.
Give you a chance to look at those.
We're good, Helen.
Thank you. Could I please get a mover and a seconder for those minutes? Moved by Nicole, seconded by Bill. Are there any errors or omissions? Calling the question though, all in favor? In favor here, it is carried. Business arising from the minutes? There are a couple of things. I did reach out and send a letter to South School District number 5, but I didn't hear back. I know that I promised a letter to the Ministry of Transportation, and I have not finished that, so I ask your forgiveness on that, and we will table that. Is there any other business arising from those minutes?
I'm seeing, under the board Pro D,
Yep,
Knowledge Keepers presentation.
yep.
I'm just wondering where.
It will be in the boardroom in advance of our meeting.
Do we have to let you know we're coming in advance or?
It probably would be nice simply because sometimes they bring the right number of handouts and things, so.
Yes. Thank you.
Any other business arising? There was one more thing. I thought, on page 10, under the policy committee, the discussion around adding trustee criminal record checks being done by candidates prior to them being allowed to put their name forward as a candidate. We've tabled that because Angela, with her just getting back, hasn't had time to look into the legalities of that. So that will come forward at another time once we've been able to check into it. Okay. All right. That's the business arising from those minutes. Moving on to item number 6 in our agenda, approval of the excerpts of the regular board meeting of December the 15th, which is page 14 in your package. Can I please have a mover and a seconder for that? Moved by Ida, seconded by Bill. Any errors or omissions? Calling the question now, all in favor? In favor? Right, on to item number 7, announcements and reminders. Are there any additions to our announcements and reminders?
Not in addition, I'm just confirming that, where you go, the basketball says Cherry Lake. But I'm assuming they're hosting it and it'll be at the high school or somewhere like that. Would that be correct?
We'll go back down there.
So there's a query as to where.
Yeah.
We'll clarify.
It's scary to see May on there. Whew. All right, if there's nothing further related to announcements and reminders, we'll move on to item number 8 of our agenda, senior staff reports.
Thank you. Item number 1 is a regular HR activity report. Item number 1 under education is my online report I'll go through, and I'll be asking for items 2 and 3 to be broken out for approval by motion. So on my online report, under student learning, intellectual development, we have now chosen a resource for supporting numeracy with our learning assistance teachers. So this is specifically for the work that LATs are doing with some of our students that are struggling around numeracy. So this is a program that goes hand in hand with Mathology, and it will be only for that type of support with those students in those schools. Also, a reminder to trustees, this year is the end of Reading Recovery in Canada. The license is no longer being carried forward. But we've come up with some preliminary plans to maintain from one-to-one to small group literacy support in grades 1 to 3. So we're going to maintain the professionals, the trained professionals that we have through Reading Recovery over the past several years, and we'll actually be able to expand the flexibility in how they're supporting the students in grades 1 to 3. So we're pleased to continue with a very specific intervention at the primary level for literacy. Under human and social development, there's a slide there that's hard to see, but if you make it bigger, there's a QR code that gives you further stories of different ways in which we're supporting our students who are under 5 in our early learning programs around the district. That includes throughout the year, they have different what they call practice kindergarten days. And so this one here was at RO, and so they get to come in, pretend they're in kindergarten for the day, and that's just preparing them for when they enter school. The next item is just to remind trustees and public around the processes for addressing student behavior, bit of a flow chart, as well as that tiered intervention in schools in how it is approached. Celebrating February as Black History Month. As always, my March report will include a number of pictures and examples of the different Black History Month activities that go on around the district. However, I'm also happy to report that in January, we were able to bring back Parker Johnson in that second week of January, and he actually this time worked with 2 intermediate schools with Margaret Murray and Robert Ogilvie School, and they also completed the bystander training. So this is the second year we had him in the role, and he's coming back next year as well. So those schools go back with their leadership groups and with their students, and they work on that bystander training materials with the school. Under student learning, career, and skill development, congratulations to all the students who qualified for the regionals. There'll be more information on that to come, but there is a news story there on that. And we continue to work with Northern Health on promoting health careers. So there were a number of pilot projects, including for ECE, but also through the college as well. There are different streams and pathways that our students can follow. Also with our partners, Northern Lights College, just a reminder that they are holding Fort St. John Open House. So if you know of any families, graduating students, curious youth that are interested in the programming at Northern Lights College, please let them know of this information. Once again, we're proud to host the Trades Spring Break Camp at Duncan Cran Elementary School. And so that's going to be 2 camps, I believe, back to back. And so we're pretty excited to host that again. Under professional and people development, we've got some workshops coming up. That one's already taken place. Unlocking ELA, which stands for English Language Arts Engagement with Scholastic. Workshop on FASD, students who have autism, so ways to support them. DBT Skills is a parent learning group workshop that has been offered. And I think Helen mentioned the last time, the Ministry of Education partnered with the UBC for a more sort of systematic mentorship program for new teachers. So that is now available, at least the structure of it. And so you can click on the link here to find out more information about the new teacher mentorship program. Under Truth and Reconciliation, the first group of students came together for the ribbon skirt making activity. They found out near the end of it that part of the tradition is to give them away. So they worked hard on them, and lots of them gave them to either each other or to their family members. And then, of course, they'll start making another one. But it was a big success, and these are the first students in that activity. Under the last part, Take 3 celebrations around the district. Duncan Cran celebrating his Arctic Winter Games. Buick Creek had a wonderful day out at the Whiskey Jack Ski Club that's supported by the district in terms of transportation and the cost for the volunteers to facilitate those activities. And the Key Learning Center had some of their home study families participate with participation of Fort St. John in the rink there for a skate. And finally, Buick Creek had a school spirit day where they got to bring in different items rather than a backpack to school. And so you saw everything from the kitchen sink to pots and pans to tools from around the house. And so that was a fun activity. That is my online report. And the other 2 I would ask for motion, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Could I please have a mover and a seconder for the Stevens report, and we'll pull out motions related to community coaches and out of district field trips. Moved by David, seconded by Madeline. Thank you. Further discussion. We'll start with the HR report. Any questions or comments on this? All right, moving on to the online report. Stephen, I don't need to see it, but if you can scroll through item by item. And just tell me when you get to the mentorship. As he's scrolling, please pipe up if you have any questions and things you want to seek clarification for.
I just had a question about the reading recovery.
Yeah.
How long was that program?
How long is it?
How long has it been?
Oh, gosh, since Leslie LaHaye days. And so
Yeah.
I would say probably since, I'm gonna say 2008.
So there was always funding provided, and that's why we have a reading recovery teacher at the school. Is that how it worked?
No, the government never provided funding. The board always provided funding off the block for this reading recovery program, which is a very technical and scientific approach to supporting students who struggle in reading. Now, it used to be fairly spread across Canada, and I think for their own challenges started to dwindle over the years. And without the license, we're not allowed to use the reading recovery methodology.
Oh, okay. But we have teachers who are trained in it, so you're just gonna
Yes.
continue to, yeah, okay.
Develop
We
our-
are, and in fact, what was, because there was quite a bit of process and paperwork and attention that needed to follow being part of reading recovery, which was good. With the trained professionals that we have a bit more flexibility, and it doesn't always have to be one-to-one. It can be a couple of kids, small groups, and also supporting classroom teachers. So it's a bit of a win-win moving forward.
But Stephen, one of the really important parts of reading recovery was that intense training for the teacher that was delivering the program. In our new approach to reading recovery, do we have a training component for those literacy specialists?
Great question. And again, the legacy of having these people trained included having Christine Bourgeois as a reading recovery nationally trained trainer. So we have a train the trainer on site, and she'll be able to oversee, and they've already developed a bit of a training quality control process and schedule for the year.
Thank you.
Did I pass mentorship?
No, I think it's at the end.
Okay.
The parent workshops,
Yes.
the learning, was that filled up quite quickly?
They're usually oversubscribed. I can find out specifically for this one here, but generally speaking, there are more people.
More
than
interest
there are
than
seats.
seats.
Yeah.
Great.
There was some interest from Hudson's Hope to have one done out there, so I did reach out to.
Pardon me? Oh, Amy or Erin?
Earlier,
Sally? Brenda?
Brenda, and she said she'd think about it and maybe provide something after spring break.
Great idea.
But we'll see, like it's all these parents saying they'd come and then.
Yeah, you want a bit of a critical mass as far as numbers now, but absolutely we'll look into that possibility. And the registration would tell us if there's enough people, right? Helen, we're at the teacher mentoring part.
Yeah, David just raised his hand.
No, I needed some more, how is that going? That kind of,
Very few people actually know about it. Yeah, and now, when I say that, they always had committed to teacher mentoring on a provincial scale. Please remember that we do quite a bit for mentoring already in our school district. So does our local union. They reach out to their new members, and we've been supporting a mentorship program for many years, but there was a lot of gaps around the province. And so the contract was given to UBC to try to come up with a more systemic way to address the mentoring.
And what I wanted to say there, Stephen, there's 5 pilot projects, 5 pilot districts that are part of this mentorship program. It hasn't been made clear that it's open to the whole province yet. Quesnel and Prince Rupert are two districts in the north that are part of the mentorship program. There was one on Vancouver Island. There was one that was a more urban district, and the fifth escapes me at the moment. At NIB, I did go through the 5 pilot areas, and you can, if you go to the Ministry's BC Workforce Plan site, there is a link on that site to the mentorship program, and there's an announcement about what districts are involved in the pilot.
Yeah, and so I'm just showing now, Helen, on the screen, the pilot districts as well as the ministry site where people
Okay.
can get more information. So there was Conseil Scolaire Francophone,
Right.
Williams Lake, Carbour-Chilcotin, West Vancouver, Prince Rupert, and Vancouver Island North.
Thank you, because memory is not as strong as it should be at this moment, so.
Okay.
All right,
Anything else on my online report? If not.
all right, can I call the question, please, on Stephen's online report? All in-
Bill.
The spring break camp,
Yes,
I was just curious, is there a male component at all to that?
no, that's for girls. Yeah. Now, we have had lots of welding camps, for example, for actually boys and Indigenous students as well up at the high school too. But this is specifically the grade 5 girls.
Yeah, the college is putting on one in the summer
Okay,
for anybody. Kind of
Right
thing.
on.
So, sure.
yeah, the industry's kind of targeting this group here as they did last year for the spring break.
I used the college one for work.
Nice. Right on.
All right, calling the question now. All in favor of accepting Stephen's report? Thank you. In favor here. That is carried. Now, could I please have someone make the motion that the Board of Education approve the attached community coaches as presented? It's a single fellow in Beldonal, I believe. So
Moved by Ida.
thank you. Seconded by Nicole. Calling the question, all in favor? Thank you. Moving on to out-of-district field trips, could I please have somebody make the motion that the Board of Education approve the attached out-of-district field trips as presented? Moved by David, seconded by Bill. Any further discussion or questions?
Just a question, not for the motion itself. Due to our sometimes not always overstaffed buses, I think if one of those trips gets canceled, is there ever a time of putting it back on the schedule or? Is it
It's a good question. I think if it needs to be rescheduled, we'd sort of let everyone know and bring it back. If there was a short timeline, as sometimes happens, I would have to approve it.
But is there, because I've had parents, oh, ours got
Right.
canceled and then
They try and reschedule
they try and
Yeah.
reschedule?
them.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, thanks for the
Okay.
question.
All right. Mover, seconder. Moved by, it was Ida and David, I think. Calling the question then, all in favor? In favor here, so that's carried. We will move on to item number 8.2 on our agenda, which is the Secretary Treasurer's report.
Thank you. For my report, I have the finance update to January 31st, 2026. Enrollment projectors for the upcoming years for 26-27. HR support staff summary report for January 15th to February 12th. And then just a review of the trustee remuneration for the. That is my report.
Could I please have a mover and seconder for that report? Moved by Madeline. Seconded by Ida. Now we will go through item by item for discussion, the finance update until January 31st. Any questions there? Questions and or comments?
On the, you said that the CPP are maxed out, so, but now coming into January, we're starting over again, correct? So we're gonna see those numbers change?
Yeah, that's why you have the small, the difference between 48% and 54. So the 54 is expected at this time of year, but because we
Because they have
maxed out,
maxed out.
and now we're restarting, we should see those numbers start to go up again.
Other questions related to that report? I'm not seeing any. Enrollment projections.
So what you're seeing is what we've submitted to the ministry for enrollment projections. You can see the ministry's projections are quite a bit lower than what we have submitted to the ministry. We have, for the regular instruction, we used PSTGI, which is Paradigm Shift, which is kind of our enrollment projection company that we've been using for, well, I've been here, it's probably long before me, but we did their roll-up for the next year, and we came up with 5780. We took what we had currently in the district and did the roll-up there, and that came in at 5,805. But we went with the more conservative number for brick and mortar and landed at the 5790, which is lower than what we currently have, but higher than what the ministry is saying. So it's a bit of a best guess at this point.
I know kindergarten registration is ongoing. Is there any sense of how it's coming in throughout the district? Last year, we started off really slow, and I don't think we ever got the kindergarten numbers we would have liked. How's it looking this year?
I'm not too sure, actually. It's pretty well the start of the kindergarten season. The ads are going out now on the radio, and then we have a couple signs that are going out in the next month or two, but I'm going to say they're not anywhere that's going to tell us anything for next year.
Okay.
The only one I heard anything about was when we were Presbyterian.
And what's Presbyterian coming in at?
Very good.
Theirs are good out
High,
there, yes.
Yeah, for them, it's like record highs.
It's gonna be a great grad year in a few.
Okay,
Uh,
okay.
we can certainly give you a sense of the percentage of that projected K number in a couple of weeks for sure.
Okay, it's sometimes that K number is foreshadowed what comes down the road.
And then for the rest of the projections, we just talk to the rest of district staff who are in those departments and have those numbers there.
So when the ministry does our anticipated budget for 26, 27, will they use what you have sent in, or will they use their numbers?
They use what we send in.
Okay. Thank you. All right,
Sorry.
moving.
Us sending numbers in and then giving numbers that first are similar. And then secondly, we didn't have a double. It makes sense for us to do it because we're hopefully having somebody that's familiar with economics up here and everything that's doing it. But isn't that kind of a waste for both of us to do it?
Well,
I'm talking financially wise.
like financially wise, is it a waste for both of us to do it? Well, they have their experts and we have ours,
Yeah.
and then we have our internal knowledge. So, I would prefer that we do it this way where we have some insight into the numbers that they're going to be providing.
Well, I mean, I think it makes more sense, like, for somebody to do it that's more, instead of somebody that's in
Yeah, and we don't
downtown
know,
Vancouver, I think.
and they don't give us the background details as to how they come up with the numbers, and we have them for ours, so
They're very different.
they're very different, yes.
As they were 3 years ago when they projected a massive increase in population. So
Yeah.
it's why the local information is more relevant.
Oh, no, on
That's
the
what they
green thing,
take.
I agree.
Yeah, and that's what they take. That's what they take.
Good.
All right. Moving on to the next item on Angela's report. Her HR summary, support staff summary. Any questions there? All right. Trustee remuneration review. This is now any questions related to that?
Sorry, Leah, I'm not seeing the I for
0.7. 1.7.
it's like 7 years.
0.7, yeah. it's in those. So the last page.
Oh, I didn't scroll down,
Yeah.
sorry.
Good.
Any questions on that?
Right. If there are no questions related to that, we had a mover and a seconder for Angela's report, calling the question. All in favor? In favor here. All right. Moving on to item number 9 on our agenda, reports of the regular committee of the whole meeting of February the 2nd. And that is pages 17 to 19 in your agenda package.
Do it.
Yep.
Guys were there.
Okay.
Moved by.
I see Bill and I see Ida with their hands up, so calling question, all in favor? It's carried, I'm assuming. Thank you guys very much. All right, moving on to business arising from those minutes. Just a reminder, those of you that were unable to attend that meeting, please take a look at the frameworks for Duncan Cran, I think it was, the 2 schools who just submitted their reports, and provide any feedback, because that feedback does go back to the school staff from those reports. Is there any other business arising from those minutes? Right. Moving on to our policy committee follow-up. We're looking at policy 1012, Indigenous education. And, pardon?
Ellen, I have a friendly amendment to the title, if you will.
Yeah.
And I forgot to provide the whole title. And so it's quite important, in fact, that it's Indigenous Education Council.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say. It is Indigenous Education Council.
Yeah, so there's no advisory, there's no committee, so it's Indigenous Education Council. Thank you.
Thank you. And I would like a motion that the Board of Education adopt policy 1012, Aboriginal Education Advisory Council.
Indigenous Education Council.
Did she say Aboriginal?
You called the
So
old
I moved it, so we need a seconder.
So it should be, sorry, I should have read it as that the Board of Education adopt policy 1012, Indigenous Education Council.
Yes.
Thank you. That's the correct reading. Moved by Ida, seconded by Bill. Sorry, David,
The other bill.
the other Bill. Calling the question. Actually, calling the question, then all in favor. We actually don't need a seconder because this will go forward for notice of motion.
No, Helen, we've already done that. I moved it.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, right, correct.
Yes.
She's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
we don't need a second.
We don't need a seconder, so sorry, David, I didn't need your hand.
I'm good.
Okay, so we have a mover for that and it'll go forward for notice of motion. Our
Sorry, we do need a seconder. It already went out for notice
That's what I thought.
of
Yeah.
motion.
Yeah,
It's to adopt.
okay,
Because that's why Ida's name was already beside it.
I mean,
all
I'm
right,
back.
You're
so
back.
David, we do need you.
Good to be needed.
I appreciate the testing going on, Helen. You're keeping us on our toes for sure.
I'm not meaning to, but we can talk about that later. Let's move on to item B under policy committee, which is policy 3007, Indigenous education. Our initial mover was David, that the Board of Education adopt policy 3007, Indigenous education. All right, could I please have a seconder for that? Seconded by Nicole. All right, so those two policies are 1012 and 3007 are complete. When we're now looking at policy 5007,
Call the question.
call the question, all in favor? I hope our gallery is seeing our great teamwork.
And my apologies, but Leah, did we actually have a vote on policy A?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, we did. That one I knew. All right, now policy 5007, District Health and Safety Committee. This is going out for notice of motion. So could I please have a mover that the Board of Education put forward policy 5007, District Health and Safety Committee for notice of motion? Moved by Madeline. And we don't need to vote, and we don't need a seconder. Moving on to Indigenous Education Council updates. The next meeting is this Thursday, and Ida will represent us at that meeting. Other reports, BCSTA, Trustee Snow has advised us that he's attending Provincial Council. This week, there also is a board chair call later in the week. Is there anything else under BCSTA?
I did the training session today,
Okay,
and then Friday morning we have our meeting.
thank you. All right. Moving on then to BCPC, Trustee Lehman.
I had sent out the summary of the AGM. Sarah Holland from Prince George is your new NIV rep. And the resolutions, they all passed except for the number 7 that changed the wording about conflict of interest. That did not pass. And they just showed the new timeline because there is now 2 meetings. There's going to be an AGM in June. They had to adjust it due to the BC Society Act. They always had their AGM too late. They have to do it within 6 months. So that's what the resolutions are all about. So that's going to come into play. There will be a question and answer about bargaining on the 27th of February, I do believe. I am signed up for that one.
All right, thank you. And earlier Bill had asked the question about the Knowledge Keeper presentation that is in advance of our March 9th meeting. If you can let us know if you're able to attend that. Typically, we've been doing those at 4:30 in advance of the regular meeting.
Yes, and if I can add, it's in the calendars for trustees. If you just add it in there as well, if you're coming, and then they'll know.
Thank you. All right, moving on to the proposed 3-year calendar. We have 3-year calendars that have been proposed for Hudson Hope, the district, and then you should have received Upper Halfways today. Could I please have someone make the motion that the board adopt the proposed 3-year calendars for 26, 27, 27, 28, and 28, 29 as presented? Moved by Nicole, seconded by Ida. Discussion now.
I have a
Nicole?
question. Yeah, so I understand Hudson's Hope always has those extra days, but when I look at the actual number of instructional days, it matches the district ones, 175, 178, 180, but yet they do have all the school closure days. But wouldn't that, the instructional day, like, wouldn't the instructional days be a different number then?
In the minutes of hours.
The minutes, the hours of instruction are the
Instruction.
same across the year, but Nicole's correct. That's an error in the calendar. It should be fewer days, but it's the same hours of instruction. We'll consider that a friendly amendment and we'll
Okay.
correct that.
Is it the same for Upper Halfways?
Yeah, exact same hours of instruction, but in looking at the days, no, they have made the adjustment to the number of instructional days for Upper Halfway. It's different.
Okay, that's fine. I didn't have the opportunity to print Upper Halfways to look at in advance of the meeting.
And will for the Hudson's Hope specifically, yeah.
Okay,
Half
all
the
right.
reason Claire's upset about going to Kearney.
They lose the days.
These extra days she gets
Well,
those, they're all.
they're pretty special.
Okay, we have a mover and a seconder. Is there any further discussion? Great. Calling the question then, all in favor?
No, Bill had a question, yeah.
The administrative
Okay.
day, that,
Sorry, what are you looking at, Bill?
is that our one here in town? Is that the grad every day, every time the administrative day there?
No, that's the last Friday in June, always.
It tends to be Hudson's Hope's graduation, but not North Pieces.
No, and
Oh,
we
it's the
don't
day
put,
before.
we don't put graduation in here. This is just the last Friday in June by contract is always the last day of school for the teachers.
That'll be consistent across the district.
Yeah, that's right.
Any further discussion?
Am I still on here? Okay.
Okay, thank you. Calling the question now, all in favor? Thank you, in favor here. So we're moving on to the amended annual budget presentation. Thank you for zooming in.
Thank you. Okay, the budget, represents the amended annual budget for the 25-26 school year. The amendments reflect updated enrollment information following the September count and updated ministry funding. The goal of the amended budget is to ensure the district remains financially balanced while continuing to support instructional priorities. Agenda, we're going to do the enrollment, key budget changes, how that enrollment rolls into funding, then the overview of other operating revenue, summary of operating expenditures by function, and then again by object. A review of Schedule 3, which is our special purpose funds, and then a review of Statement 2, which is our budget bylaw. Can you see from there? So updated revenue projections are revised after our updated enrollment, which sets the amount of funds for allocation. Expenditures adjustments. Expenditures were modified, including reallocating funds to priority programs and adjusting spending where necessary. And then revisions and adjustments to funding allocations and strategic initiatives since the preliminary budget was presented. When I go off script, you tend to listen to a lot of so bear with me here. So the amended budget gives us the opportunity to see what's really happening in the district during the school year. We're halfway through right now. We can see how the chips landed with staffing and based on enrollment where those funds went. So this is a better picture than, or a clearer picture of where we are. So you can see the school age variance is 76.69. That is a change from what we were hoping were what we projected was going to show up last February with our crystal ball versus who actually showed up. So we had, for brick and mortar, said that we would be getting 55,870 brick and mortar students. The reality was 5,821. And then we also had a change in online learners projected at 160, and they came in at 132 FTE. There's still 2 more funding windows for online learners, February and May, and we kept those numbers. We didn't make any adjustments to those because speaking to the online team, they felt that those numbers were going to come to fruition, and they are achievable. So no other changes there. The other is a very small piece, but we have to review it. We had projected 1.25 and the next 0.5, which isn't a lot of money, but it has to. So the overall change is minus 75.44 from the preliminary budget. Please ask any questions along the way. So what that translates to for enrollment-based funding, minus $644,333,000. There were, you can see we have some adjustments to that look like they offset it. Like we have an increase in special ed, an increase in ELL, Indigenous education, and adult education. But the top 3, the special ed, in ELL, and Indigenous education are targeted funds. So we wouldn't roll those and offset our enrollment-based funding. So the overall result, we did get a supplement for enrollment decline this year of 76,385, which is a move to offset our enrollment decline. And the overall ministry funding came in at $481,071.
Angela, where does the classroom enhancement fund roll into this? Because we just got updates to that.
The special purpose fund.
Okay, thank you.
So the overall funding comes down to some adjustments. They took away the support staff benefit grant that we projected we were going to get in the preliminary budget. That isn't happening for the amended budget. And then we have a small increase of 36,640 for the February 2026 recount for special education funding. And other than that, we can see we have a decrease in international and out of province funding, kind of offset with our increase to miscellaneous income. And then just small variances in the child care funding. We have the BCPC hiring incentives that we didn't budget for last year of 53,000, but that's really just a wash with the incentives that we gave out. And then we are seeing investment income staying strong. And we think we will come in at around 65,000 over what we budgeted in the preliminary budget. So the overall decrease is 461,876 to revenue. Any questions? David?
Well, it makes sense.
Okay.
Not happy.
Oh, thank you. I love it when it makes sense. That makes me happy. So you can see I know nobody loved the pie part, but I have to throw them in there just for visual effect. 97.5% of our funding is from the Ministry of Education. So again, between that one to the left should say, or to the right should say 20 preliminary annual budget, but I have amended budget on the brain. I put it in twice. We can see that instruction is still at 8. The numbers are really consistent year over from the preliminary to the projected. We're sitting at around 80% for instruction. District administration, slight increase 3.57. Operations and maintenance 11.53 decrease, and transportation 5.01 with a 0.02 variance. No major shifts in spending priorities as a result of the amended budget. Another beautiful pie chart with instruction being the majority of the spending. Here we see some changes to small shifts from the previous budget due to our ability to staff all positions, especially in the learning services area. We had some unfilled positions there, which we covered with contractors. And also some changes due to the decreased enrollment. And again, we budgeted for fully staffed the preliminary budget, and that's where the differences come in the salaries. So we can see the top salaries and benefits are approximately 85% of the total operating expenses, with services and supplies landing at 15%. So this year we anticipate using 1.4 million of our accumulated surplus, being used strategically to stabilize and support operations. The surplus goes towards supporting the learning support model, additional funding for both math and literacy initiatives. There is also funding in place for capital spending for vehicle replacement, as well as shop upgrades, just to name a few. Then we also gave an allocation to school-based budgets for them to purchase additional items for their buildings. They can choose to spend that money. They know best how they need to spend it. So the surplus is just prioritizing the district needs and supporting the initiatives that to support district initiatives and priorities. Get nervous and I don't know why, but I know what I'm doing. So the amended budget shows an operating shortfall of approximately 911 before the appropriation of surplus and then the net transfer of capital assets. So we're purchasing 490,000 in capital assets for the 2025-26 year. And these are the special purpose funds. The special purpose funds total 13.7 million. These funds are restricted and must be used for their designated purposes. They are not available to support general operating costs. Major areas include childcare, Indigenous education, food programs, and learning support.
Is the acronym here, I'm just wondering, CEF?
Classroom enhancement.
And then the amended budget bylaw comes in at $107,966,238. So this is the statutory summary required for the adoption of the budget bylaw, and it consolidates the operating, special purpose, and capital expenditures. And that is it.
All right. Are there any questions? I can only see the Zoom screen right now, so please speak up if you have a question.
You want, I'll never see.
So we were short about 500,000, but we're gonna take over a million out of surplus.
So the surplus is 1.4 million. So there's 1.4 million in expenses within the budget. So between the assets and the operating balances, if we didn't have the 1.4 million in initiatives that in additional.
Preliminary already had surplus money in there. We just,
Surplus money in
the
there.
amendment just has more.
Oh, okay, so the preliminary already had us taking some from surplus.
Yeah.
Okay, we only are making up a $500,000 deficit, right?
Support initiative.
Okay, so we only had to come up with really the enrollment difference, money of 500,000. Nothing else has been a major.
If we pulled the 1.4 million out and then we would have a balanced balanced budget. There's 1.4 million in additional expenses in there because of above the operating. So it's balanced.
And $1 million of that absolutely was predetermined by the board to be supporting the numeracy and literacy initiatives
Okay.
over the past several years. That's part of the, encumbered surplus, not part of the emergency contingency, 2.5 to 3.5%. And in the 400,000 was made up, for example, Angela, I believe an increase in CEF
Yeah.
funding.
Yeah.
So there was an increase in CEF funding specifically that would made up the shortfall there as well.
Preliminary already had.
Bill,
Yes, okay.
Just curious where some of these come from. The Feeding Futures Fund, is that provincial?
Yes.
Provincial? And then the national one is federal, I'm guessing?
Yes.
That's federal.
And do you have to disclose how much you get from one to get the other?
No,
Okay.
they're independent of each other.
I'm just curious.
They're independent, but they've been allocated through the province, by the province.
Yeah, well, I'm just curious, like the national food one, when you break it down per student.
But that's in addition to an already substantial Feeding Futures allocation. And the nice thing
No,
about
exactly.
federal funding is that it's far more flexible. You can use it beyond, for things beyond staffing and food.
That's why I just wondered if they.
Yeah.
If they knew each other was giving kind of thing.
The province did.
Oh, yeah, okay.
David,
So next year, should we be, we are gonna be a bit more conservative with our numbers, and
For the preliminary?
Yeah. is that
Well,
what you were saying earlier?
we'll budget for the revenue that they give us.
Okay.
And the numbers are more conservative than the current year.
Based on the income.
Sorry?
Based on the income.
Correct.
Yeah, absolutely, just don't wanna do this again.
Madeline?
Do we understand it right? Because that miscellaneous interest rate is what helped us out a little bit.
Yeah, it definitely helped, plus that CEF funding that we received. For 460. They offset the shortfall in the revenue.
So, you talked to others, Steve. So, yeah, our enrollment was, our projection was a bit off, but within a realm, like normal realm, like it must be hard for everybody to, like, we didn't have like a significant decline that, right? Like, it's pretty normal to have that enrollment discrepancy?
Yeah, it's unpleasant, like we would prefer to be spot on, but it wasn't anything that when we saw it come through, we weren't too nervous
Yeah,
about how we were
okay.
going to be able to finance.
Your educated guess based on how many
Yeah,
butts are in seats in
And we
April
did-
and May and how, what the.
but like this has
projections are
happened
gonna be.
before. This isn't a once in a lifetime, yeah.
And we didn't have to scramble, like the district is, I don't think anyone felt there was no clawbacks of any funding or any initiative.
Just make sure you bring the crystal ball.
I would love one. If you have one, that would be great, but for now, we just have to use our noggin.
It's always nicer when enrollment comes in higher than expected.
But not by a lot either,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So that's-
Yeah,
that's-
estimate low, come in a bit higher is the best scenario.
Yes. We'll get it right one year.
Yeah, we have. Further questions related to Angela's presentation on the amended annual budget? All right, if there are no further questions, could I please have a motion that in accordance with section 68(4) of the School Act, all three readings of the amended annual budget bylaw for 2025-2026 be given at this meeting? Moved by Bill, seconded by Madeline. And could I please, I'm going to move into the first reading of the amended annual budget bylaw. So this is a bylaw of the Board of Education, School District number 60, Peace River North, called the board to adopt the amended annual budget of the board for the fiscal year 2025-2026 pursuant to section 113 of the School Act, RSBC 1996 C412, as amended from time to time, called the Act. 1, the board has complied with the provisions of the Act, ministerial orders, and Ministry of Education and Child Care policies respecting the amended annual budget adopted by this bylaw. This bylaw may be cited as School District 60, Peace River North, amended annual budget bylaw for the fiscal year of 2025-2026. The attached statement 2 showing the estimated revenue and expense for the 25-26 fiscal year and the total budget bylaw amount of $107,966,238 for the 2025-2026 fiscal year was prepared in accordance with the Act. Number 4, Statement 2, 4, and 6, Schedules 1 to 4 are adopted as the amended annual budget of the board for the fiscal year 2025 to 2026. Read a first time the 17th day of November, February 2026. Could I please have a mover and seconder that the board adopt the first reading of the amended annual budget bylaw? Moved by David, seconded by Ida. Any further discussion? All right, moving on. Could I please have a mover and a seconder for the motion that the second and third reading be read in short form? Moved by Bill, seconded by Nicole. All right, in short form, reading number 2, this is a bylaw of the Board of Education for District Number 60, Peace River North, and it is the amended annual budget for the board for the fiscal year 25-26. We've complied with all of the provisions of the Act, ministerial orders, Ministry of Education and Child Care policies. The bylaw can be cited as our amended annual budget bylaw. Attached statements 2, 4, and schedules 1 to 4 are adopted as the amended annual budget of the board for 25-26. Read a second time the 17th day of February 2026. Could I please get a mover and seconder that the board adopt the second reading of the amended annual budget bylaw? Nicole and Bill. Moving on with the third reading, and this is the amended annual budget bylaw for 25-26 for Peace River North. The board has followed all the provisions of the Act, ministerial orders, ministry policies to create this budget. The bylaw is cited as our school district number 60 Peace River North budget. The total budget bylaw amount is $107,966,238 for 25-26 fiscal year. And it statement 2, 4, and schedules 1 to 4 are adopted as our amended annual budget. Could I please get a mover and seconder for this, the third reading? Moved by Bill, seconded by Ida. I need to call the question. All in favor? Carried. And I'm not sure I called all in favor for the second reading. So can we call that now?
For the first or the second, I was gonna say that. Can we now call the question for the first reading, the second reading, then the third reading?
Okay. All right. Can we now call the question for all 3 readings, please? And thank you. All in favor, and it's carried. All right, moving on in our agenda. We do not have any correspondence attached to our agenda. I'm not aware of anything under unfinished business. And I can't see if Donna's in the room.
No.
No, so we don't have PRNT. We don't have anybody from CUPE there. District Parent Advisory Council. Do we have anybody from there?
Athena's here.
All right, Athena. I'm opening the floor to you, and I'm going to ask you to move to a place that I can see you from the Zoom card. Thank you. I can see you.
Hi. Thank you very much for letting us know that we do come here and that we can have the opportunity to speak. At the last DPAC meeting, I asked what they wanted me to speak to here. Some of the things that are on our plate that we're working on as a district and trying to discuss with the different PACs is potentially looking at ways where we can try to find a way to coordinate certain funding activities around such things as playgrounds. If there's a couple of schools that we know need playgrounds, can we maybe try to look at doing that? So maybe trying to work a little bit more with the school district on those types of things so that we can try to save money across the board and what has to be raised by PACs or obtain in terms of funding for that. So any input or anything around that would be fantastic, or insight on some of that. This was something that we had actually started back in October, and in light of how the new year has started, it seems more important than ever, but the DPAC needs to utilize our gaming funds that typically we used to send a representative to the BCC PAC meetings. We aren't sending anybody this year, and so we have actually opted to contract out a counselor to line up 3 workshops based on each one for each age range group, doing a primary, middle school, and high school, addressing it's a parenting workshop so that parents can figure out how to help their kids with things related to anxiety, bullying, social media, all the things that we're trying to deal with. And with, in light of what's happened, I think these workshops are going to maybe change a little bit in what the content is, but I think the heart of it's going to be there about trying to help parents deal with things, because it has been a very heavy start to this calendar year. The person that we're actually going to use was dispatched to Tumber Ridge to help and support them in terms of their mental health needs. So I think she's going to be a fantastic resource and speaker to be able to this stuff. We're really excited about that. We're also looking at in October doing a PAC 101 to help PACs learn and know what they need to be doing, what they can do, what the different positions are, fundraising ideas, all of those types of things. It's been quite a while since we put one on. I think 2017-18 was the last one, so we're overdue. We have 3 schools putting on plays. Central's doing Frozen next week. Burt Bowes is going to be doing Aladdin in June, and Mom Murray is going to have The Little Mermaid in May. And then this was discussed at the last DPAC at SUPAC meeting, but there are still some concerns, especially in middle school, related to vaping and addiction. And maybe even some of those will get addressed through the parenting workshops that we're looking at putting on. They're going to be after spring break, just so that the counselor we have lined up has time to really put forth a very thoughtful and meaningful agenda and presentation. And that's it.
Thank you.
Who's the counselor?
Michelle Antoniak, that's a great.
Thank you very much for coming, Athena. We're really glad to be working with you, and we appreciate your presence tonight. We're moving on to item number 20 on our agenda, which is questions from the press and public related to agenda items. And we ask that you move forward so Helen can see you on Zoom if you have a question. And any questions or comments must be consistent with our district values and, again, reference a specific agenda item. So, okay, I can't see. Thank you.
Hi, Helen.
Hi.
Okay, so it's to do with 9.0. It's the policy committee. It's the
Yep.
language. I'm just curious as to why it's been changed from Aboriginal and then changed to Indigenous. And
Because the province enacted something called Bill 40, and by Bill 40, we are required to have an Indigenous Education Council, and that what you see in those changes has us in line with the new legislative expectations from the ministry.
okay, so can you define what Indigenous means then? Because I'm confused. A lot of us are confused because there's so many definitions.
The ministry is using the definition of Indigenous rights holders, and they are using the concept of Métis and Inuit. On our Indigenous Education Council, we have to have stronger representation from our rights holders group, which would be Doig, Upper Halfway, and the Blueberry. We also have Métis representation on our Indigenous Education Council, as well as representation from all of our schools' Indigenous groups. So when we use the term Indigenous, there, as you say, there are some different meanings, but it encompasses those three things. And in the school district, when we talk about Indigenous students, it is based on self-identification as Indigenous.
That just gives me more questions.
Okay, sorry, I tried.
Hello, everyone. I didn't bring my glasses, so I'm having a hard time trying to read my notes and the lighting is atrocious.
Oh, that's okay. If you see me squinting, it's because you're all so little.
Oh, that's much better. Okay, my question was regarding the trustee elections that are being held in October. There's
Yes,
election bylaws, and where's the person supposed to find those, and where are the polling stations?
those will, we are required to do 3 readings of our election bylaws, and we're required to have them done by July. And all of those things will be part of the bylaw that is there. We did do our first reading of the bylaw last month. So you can look into the minutes of the January meeting, but we will be having a second and a third reading of that bylaw before the required date in July. It does list where our polling stations are in that actual budget bylaw.
Not the budget, the
The
election.
election.
Sorry, not the budget. I got budget on the brain now, in the election bylaws.
Okay, and in, also this says additional provincial parties to run candidates in school districts.
One of the things that we're hearing through the BCSTA and has already been announced previously, there have been some districts that have platforms run by, and platforms and parties that run. I'm going to use Vancouver as an example. There are some new provincial parties that are forming throughout the province, and they have served notice that they intend to run candidates in school district elections. You may recall that the last time we had an election, there was a provincial party that came forward. I think it was called the People's Action Party, and they ran candidates in some places. I believe there may be more than the People's Action Party this time, based on the information that's been coming our way.
Okay, can I just state, I think that if these are government political parties, that they should not be involved in the school board. Agree. To have trustees on that. That's just
Thank
my
you.
personal opinion. I just don't think it's right. I think the people that are in the area, that are parents and teachers and grandparents should have the right to be able to say, school is not where politics need to be, as far as people that have special agendas.
Thank you.
And the other one was, the other one I'll just leave there right now because I can't read my notes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So Helen, can I say a comment about that?
Yeah,
Being a trustee 30+ years, we pride ourselves with being a nonpartisan board. And I mean, that's not everywhere in the province, but as long as I've been a trustee up here, that is one thing. Any candidate that has ever run that I've been involved with school trustees, this board and this district, and I'm glad to hear that because we've always run as a nonpartisan board. So thank you very much for that comment.
thank you.
Being told we have to vote by somebody wouldn't sit well with most of us, for sure.
Agreed.
Or probably all of us. I can't say all, but most, for sure.
All right, are there any further questions from the public or the press?
Not at this time.
All right, thank you very much. So could I please have a motion that we suspend the regular meeting and move into in-camera? Moved by David, seconded by Bill. Leah, please stop the recording. And I'd like to clarify that we did do a mover and a seconder to suspend the regular meeting and move into in-camera. All right, could I please have a motion that the in-camera motions be brought forward for implementation? I need a mover and seconder on that. Moved by Bill, seconded by Ida. Calling the question, all in favor? Thank you. And now could I please have a motion for adjournment? Moved by Bill, seconded by Madeline. Calling the question, all in favor? All right. Leah, please stop the recording.